Welcome to the Patriot Training YouTube channel. My name is Clay Howell. I am the owner and head firearms instructor of Patriot Training. The purpose of this video is to talk about Gun Class Pro Tips Part 2. You've probably seen Part 1. If not, check the link below. Gun Class Tips Part 2. And be advised, some of these may sound redundant, so you're going to have to listen for the details. It's going to be something that maybe adds on to what has already been said. First, training can be expensive. You just need to go ahead and assume training will be expensive. I typically count on about 3 times the face value of the class, because once you get ammunition, once you travel to the location, you have hotel, meals, things of that sort, you're usually at about 3 times whatever the class says. If I purchase a $500 class, I figure I'm going to be spending somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 grand total. When you're taking all these things into consideration, understand that you're going to have to travel. God is good and has blessed Patriot Training with many gateway students, many people that this is their first gun class, etc., etc. And some of these people will ask, they'll say, well, I just wish you would hold classes closer to Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga or wherever they live. And in these cases, instead of me just snapping back because the point will never be understood, I use a series of questions and have a conversation with them. And I say, okay, well, you want a class closer to Nashville. Well, first and foremost, the range we partner with, Mountaintop Gun and Archery, is only about an hour and 45-minute drive from Nashville. So do you know of a range that's closer? And typically it's an indoor range, so we would not be able to do what it is that we're doing. And there are very, very few other outdoor ranges, particularly those that are welcoming of outside instructors. And so once we walk through all these things with questions and answers, usually then the person realizes, oh yeah, well, I guess I can't have a gun class in my own backyard. It's okay to travel a little bit. Speaking of traveling, if you're going to invest this much, if you're going to travel to a class, have a reason and a purpose to take that class. Make no mistake, I'm very happy when somebody just takes class after class with me. That's always good, and it's a known quantity. I know how they are going to be on the range and how to coach them and that sort of thing. But some people really lack a purpose in their class training outline. So you should have a purpose. Pick a topic that you want or that you need. Take a training class on something that you suck at. If your focus has always been self-defense, for example, you might want to take a sport shooting class or vice versa. But no matter what that is, it could be something as simple as, I would like to take this class with a friend. I have taken an Appleseed because I had a friend who was taking the Appleseed, and I promised that friend that I would take that Appleseed with them. That's a good enough reason for me to take a class. So whatever your reason, have a focused reason. Don't just go just to go. That's not the point. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be investing some money. You've got a reason to be there. You need to bring good equipment. Now, we talked about this before, having the right kind of gun, having the proper ammunition. We are going to be doing some videos here on the Patriot Training YouTube channel about good rifle and pistol selection, good ammunition selection. 2 things that really stand out the next level after your firearm and after your ammunition, 2 things that really stand out. For rifles, it's your sling. Getting the $10 nylon Walmart special is just not a good choice. It's not going to leave you with many options on how to run your sling. If you've got a choice between that and maybe spending a little bit more money and getting a good Magpul sling or a Vickers sling or something of that sort, pay a little bit more. You will not regret it. Similarly with a pistol, every rifle needs a sling and every pistol needs a holster. So, and you'll see my guys on the wall here, the rifle and the pistol do not have a holster. They do not have a sling. It's because they're staged on a wall. But if you're going to be bringing a pistol to class, bring a good quality holster. Forget the Uncle Mike's nylon special from Walmart. Nope. Don't bring a Serpa to class. We call them Derpa for a reason. And if you haven't seen the 489 YouTube videos and articles on why they're hot pieces of garbage, then you need to go do a little bit of research. Bring something a little bit better than a Serpa for sure. And yes, once again, quality costs a little bit of money. Folks, an absolute ton of information is to be had during breaks and non-instructional times, both from fellow students as well as interactions with the instructor. It could be regular conversation, it could be a question that's asked during a break period, what have you. Again, bring your notepad and pen like I recommended in the previous video. And this is one of those main times I'm taking notes, and I could show you pages upon pages of notes that I've taken. While I was taking another note, I had to stop and take a new note because something was being said off to the side that caught my attention. It was worthy of jotting down. I was helping my NRA training counselor when he was teaching an NRA rifle instructor class, and it came time for the rifle instructor candidates to call the line, and myself and the two training counselors and one of his other assistants, we were all behind the line as the instructor candidate called the line. And he made a statement, this instructor candidate made a statement on how to do whatever was being done next. And simultaneously, 4 people bring up their notepad and their pen and they start writing down that same note because what he said was pure brilliance. Students, sweep your safety off. That was it. Pure brilliance. This was covered in the previous video, and I'm going to reiterate here. Listen to what the instructor tells you and try it. If you're going to do it a different way than you're taught, what is your purpose? Are you trying to show off, or are you trying to waste your own money? It comes down to doing it, if you decide that you're not going to be doing it the way the instructor said, you're wasting your money, either by showing off or whatever your purpose is. You probably don't have one, if you thought about it. A humble person, a true instructor, a real expert, would shut his mouth and try it the new way. If something is not clear, ask. If you didn't quite understand, ask. But if you have a story, keep that to yourself. If you have a question that you already know the answer to that question, you're just seeking validation in front of the instructor of, oh, I know this. Keep that to yourself. Noted firearms instructor Tim Herron calls that person an asshole. Yep. To that point, if other students wanted to hear your take, they would purchase classes with your school and ask you how to do it. And if you don't have a school, well then that's kind of like your answer right there. If you want to have a school, reach out to me and ask me. I'll show you how. I'm going to jump back on taking notes. So many times I see people just not even taking notes. I'm reminded of taking a class, and I had 2 fellow Patriot Training instructors in the class with me. We were 3, and the rest of the class, there was a grand total of 20 students in this class, and we were the only 3 who were writing anything down. And I wrote down 18 pages of notes in this class. And it was a pistol class, and I'm going to tell you right now, I did not learn a single new thing about shooting a pistol that whole class. But I still took 18 notes. And some of those notes I took made Patriot Training's Essential Pistol a lot better. Those notes can give you something to reference back to later. 30 days down the line, a year down the line. During class, it can help you with retention and also if you're having confusion on something. That might lead into a really good question that the instructor wants you to ask or that other people had on their mind. Whether you intend to leave a review or not, you should write an AAR, an after-action report, on every class that you take. I've got pages upon pages of AARs from different classes I've taken over the years. You should write this. Some of the information that you should include: introduction to the class. What was it about? What was the purpose? What was the mindset of the class? How did the class feel? Talk about the equipment that you used. Compare the equipment you used to the list that the instructor said to bring. If you differed, note your difference and make a note of, did that have an effect? Yes or no? Was it positive or negative? Was anything learned from that? Lessons that you learned in general, just things that you learned. Talk about problems that you encountered, problem that you overcame, or problem that you did not overcome. Make a summary. Write down about your overall experience. How did you feel? A well-known school out there has in the back of their manual that they give people for the class, they have in the back how to write a good AAR. And one of my favorite points and all the different questions that they ask in there so that you can pick out what you want to answer and make a good AAR. Probably my favorite question in that whole list, and they've got many, is who did you like and who did you want to punch in the face? And sure enough, you're probably going to have one of each in most classes that you take, and make a note of it and explain why. And that way, when you reference it later, you can remember. I'll say, oh, yeah, that's what happened there, and that's why I wanted to punch one dude in the face, and that's why I like the other dude. My favorites, the things that I come back to all the time, are the lessons learned and the problems encountered and the problems overcome. And the reason why is as I am refining the course material for Patriot Training classes, and I refine it every year, I go back to those questions. I keep a separate document of lessons learned and problems encountered and overcome. And some of the more important lessons learned and problems overcome become actual teaching points for my instructors. And other parts make it into the curriculum in ways unseen. So that's some of the most valuable information you can get. Folks, that wraps up the video on Gun Class Pro Tips Part 2. Hope you enjoyed. I would like to remind you that you do not have to be a patriot to train, but you do have to train if you want to call yourself a true patriot. Take care.